From KMOV, News 4 is covering breaking news.
As darkness set in, violence began. You're looking at the third night of intense scenes in Ferguson as News 4 continues to watch over our community.
Now, there hasn't been a moment today where we've stopped monitoring this unprecedented situation.
Yeah. From the very first thing this morning, we assessed the damage from last night. We followed up with business owners in the Ferguson area, spoke with family members of Michael Brown, and followed reports of violence as it intensified.
Julian Johnson on West Florissant right now. And Julian, bring us up to date.
Well, Sharon, crowds once again quickly got out of control tonight. Take a look at this video. It shows officers using tear gas on those crowds that were blocking streets and overall just getting rowdy. And then back out here live, you'll see down West Florissant where there's a heavy police presence near that burned QT. There were huge crowds near that intersection earlier today, and because there's another night of chaos in Ferguson, some residents now want the National Guard to step in. Loud bangs echoing throughout Ferguson Tuesday night as officers forced to use tear gas to control crowds, which at times seemed uncontrollable.
We heard gunshots, sirens, chaos.
Lori Salomon has lived in Ferguson more than 30 years and says last night's raids were unlike anything she's ever seen, so she's making a plea.
We feel for all households and all safety for all of our families. We want the National Guard to be brought in. We cannot afford to go through another night of what we went through.
And with scenes of widespread looting and shootings, some residents agree, while others think National Guard presence will only make things worse.
Who's going to receive it? I mean, force is all around us. What has it done? But the trust factor, again, we can't get away from that.
Salomon says she's contacted the governor's office. If no change comes, she's ready to at least temporarily abandon the only place she's called home.
This is here, St. Charles. Sorry, we'll stay here.
So we've seen a steady flow of people out here along West Florissant. Officers are trying to push people back out, but we've seen people park nearby and start to walk down the street. We have not heard, though, any more tear gas being launched at those crowds. Out here, there's still plenty more developments to bring you. As we hear more breaking news happen out here, we will definitely bring that to you. Tonight, we're live in Ferguson. Julian Johnson, News 4.
Here's another look at how serious things are right now. The 70 exit onto Lucas and Hunt is closed. We'll be monitoring this situation as the evening progresses. Of course, we'll have more from Brittany Noble coming up from Ferguson. Ferguson, not the only place for violence tonight. You're looking at brand new video from inside the Galleria Mall earlier this evening. As you can see, chaos unfolded after reports of a fight. Police moved in. News 4 contacted several stores who were forced to close their doors with customers inside. Matt Cessna, you've been at the scene all evening talking with eyewitnesses and officers from multiple police agencies. All this unfolding at a time when tensions are already high.
Steve, indeed they are, but I can tell you right now it is calm and quiet outside the Galleria Mall. It is actually past the mall's normal closing time, but police out here are taking no chances. Some officers remain in the area after the panic that started, we're told, with a fight among teens. Police raced into the mall parking lot, swarming into the shopping area, and specifically on the second floor in the center of the mall, where witnesses say a fight broke out between two girls.
I was trying to break it up, and then they kind of got to each other, so.
And then what happened?
The police tackled both of them to the ground. Then one of the boys who was friends with my sister started running around the mall, and the police had to tackle him because he was trying to fight somebody, and then a big uproar happened. And then they tried to break it to Foot Locker, but they shut everything down.
And it happened quickly. Richmond Heights police, aided by officers from Clayton and Shrewsbury, arrested two teens and hustled the large crowd that was watching the fight out of the mall.
I know the cops were just trying to do their job, right, but they were trying to run, trying to get other people. I had to get her out the way.
All the stores are closed, like all the employees are gone.
Stores wasted no time in shutting down, and the mall emptied out fast. Police on the scene say they were on heightened alert all day at the Galleria.
We did see those social media reports, and we did have an increased presence at the Galleria today, but it appears to be unrelated to those.
You guys were ready for this?
Well, we'd like to think so.
and police remain ready, still patrolling around the mall amid a state of uncertainty tonight. We're live in Richmond Heights. Matt Cesny, News 4.
And News 4 there as local and national members of the NAACP met with community members regarding Saturday's fatal shooting. More than 250 packed the Murchison Tabernacle Church in Normandy for the town hall style meeting. A panel made up of attorneys, Urban League and NAACP members and other community leaders talked with residents. We spoke with local NAACP President Esther Haywood, who says their organization does not support last night's violence, and neither does Michael Brown's family.
They wanted to know a lot of things about what happened in the event that they didn't know. Hopefully the leaders can come together and maybe diffuse some of it. Maybe.
Officers surrounded the church in an effort to keep the peace. No major disturbances there were reported. Sharon?
Steve, Michael Brown's family has decided to hire the same lawyer who represented Trayvon Martin's parents in Florida. Civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump made his way to St. Louis County today. Brown's parents standing by his side as he laid out a case that he hopes will bring charges against the officer who shot and killed the 18-year-old.
I don't want to sugarcoat it. Their baby was executed in broad daylight. And that's why people are so outraged. That's why people are frustrated. Because they're saying yet again, one of our children executed before he even becomes a man.
St. Louis County Police say Brown and the Ferguson officer struggled for the officer's gun, and that, they say, is what led up to the deadly shooting. Now, I talked to Brown's parents earlier today, one-on-one. You'll hear what they had to say. That's coming up in 5 minutes.
From the minute this story began unfolding Saturday afternoon, we've seen a lot happen in and around Ferguson, from peaceful protests to all-out chaos. Jasmine Huda brings us up to date on how the Michael Brown case started and where things now stand in the investigation.
Well, Steve, tonight we know that the FBI is running its own investigation in tandem with the St. Louis County Police Department. The Department of Justice also monitoring any developments. All of these agencies will be zeroing in on this timeline.
Saturday afternoon, Michael Brown is shot and killed on Canfield Drive. Immediately following the shooting, crowds started to gather around Brown's body. As the hours wore on, tension split and protests started all along Canfield Drive. The situation bubbling over and down overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. 10 a.m. at Ferguson Police Headquarters, about 2 miles from where Brown was shot, St. Louis County Police hold a press conference. Crowds gather and tense moments ensue, leading up to what were supposed to be a pair of peaceful vigils Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Crowds took a turn, screaming, yelling, demanding action. This is happening on West Florissant Road and Ferguson Avenue, a busy thoroughfare. Over the next several hours, angry crowds turned to mobs, starting at a Quick Trip, where looters smashed windows, stole items, and eventually set fire, which burned Quick Trip to the ground. From there, the mob spread, the looting all along West Florissant Drive. By 11 p.m. Sunday night, looters smashed into a Walmart near I-270. Windows smashed out and shattered at an AutoZone. Almost 2 miles away, business after business, mainly concentrated along West Florissant Avenue, the mob spread further and further out. By early Monday morning, at least 10 locations left ruined, looted, and wrecked.
32 people were arrested during the looting last night, and this evening we learned from St. Louis County Prosecutor Bob McCullough 10 of those were arrested and are now facing felony burglary charges and being held on $50,000 bail each. Jasmine Huda, News 4.
On KMOV.com tonight, we do have an interactive map of the shooting, the looting, the violence throughout parts of North County. It is part of the website that is getting a lot of traffic on our site tonight. Again, all of it can be found at KMOV.com.
Welcome back. You're looking at a live look at Jennings Station Road in West Florissant. Police still patrolling the area. Several roads have been blocked off tonight. In fact, earlier we showed you the exit at Lucas and Hunt off Interstate 70 also blocked as police are trying to quell a night of violence and not have a repeat of what we saw last night in Ferguson. News 4's Brittany Noble is in Ferguson tonight.
She's at West Florissant and Capitol Drive. Brittany and her photographer were also close to tear gas.
Well, actually, Sharon, I'm at West Florissant and Jennings Station Road. I would have loved to take you a little bit closer where there's more crowds of people on West Florissant, but actually Captain Troy Doyle with the St. Louis County Police Department is asking media to actually leave the area. Police are working to control crowds near West Florissant. Before Captain Doyle sent his tweet, my photographer and I worked to get to West Florissant. Police had many areas of that street and Lucas and Hunt shut down. On one side of the street, we saw lots of smoke. Witnesses said police had been throwing tear gas towards them for at least an hour, hoping that they would leave. We also saw lots of police officers armed with guns at the Chambers intersection. Again, that's on West Florissant. So I'm out here now. This is still a developing scene, so I'll stay out here and bring you more details as they become available. Live in North County, Brittany Noble, News 4.
Brittany, thanks. Now, I went to Michael Brown's family home late this afternoon before his parents faced the rest of the media at a press conference. They agreed to talk to me exclusively about who Mike Brown was, a son with dreams, goals, and a family who loved him dearly.
Funny, smart kid. You know, make you laugh. He just graduated from high school. He's on his way to Battle Rock. Take up heating and cooling.
Michael Brown Sr. says the world was just getting to know his son, a child he helped raise alongside Mike's mother, Leslie McSpadden. Raising Mike was done with a combination of love and strength.
You talked about how difficult this journey was, getting him to the point of college.
Man, it was rough. Because you know, I just kept my foot in his neck. Me and his mom, you know, kept our foot in his neck. And he got through it.
Now, two parents grieving, desperate for answers, are troubled by so much of what they see.
Are you concerned that he's been forgotten in some of this?
Yes. Because the actions that's going on now, it's pushing my son out the picture. There's too much negativity that's going on. I need y'all support. I need the world's support right now. We need y'all support.
And there's this. Today would have been Mike's first day of college classes at Vatterott. Instead, two parents who say they will get justice now planning their son's funeral. Steve. More intense video from last night during the riots near Ferguson, showing police storming a car, guns drawn, and the pregnant woman inside says they threw her to the ground for talking. News 4's Chris Stanford talked to her and takes the video right to police.
And Sharon, that video was captured at the intersection of Lucas and Hunt and West Florissant last night at a parking lot. The pregnant woman says she was forced down onto her stomach, arrested, and taken to a hospital.
They just swarmed the car.
Makisha Wickerson says she stopped her car at the protests and was yelling at officers.
They just was like, if y'all don't shut up, we finna make sure and take you out of jail.
Makisha, who is 6 months pregnant, says officers pulled her out of the car, threw her to the ground, and held her at gunpoint. She says officers also busted out her back window and sprayed her two cousins, and their friend with mace, and were all arrested.
You were just saying things to the cops.
Just saying things.
You weren't doing anything else.
All my doors were closed. We were sitting in the car.
Nobody had any weapons or anything like that?
On their way to jail, Makisha says she thought she may go into labor.
I was just like, can I please get some air, because I start contracting and I'm sweating. I got the mace running through my eyes.
I brought the video and Makisha's claims to St. Louis County Police. Officer Brian Shellman says police officials will review the tape as soon as possible, but due to the nature of the current situation in the county, it may not be immediately.
They overreacted to the maximum, because we should be able to say whatever we want to, whenever we want to. That's all we were doing, we're talking.
Now, Makisha was not seriously hurt and says that she was told by her doctors that her baby should be just fine. In North County, Chris Stanford, News 4.
Bringing you another live location in Ferguson, West Florissant, and Chambers. Here you see a heavy police presence as police continue to monitor this area. Already tonight, Lucas and Hunt, the exit off of I-70, shut down. West Florissant and Jennings Station also shut down. But again, this location, police seem to be blocking traffic here. We'll stay on top of the situation in Ferguson.
Welcome back. A heavy police presence continuing in Florissant tonight. This is at West Florissant and Chambers. Police blocking traffic, making sure we do not see a repeat of last night's events, and so far, so good on that front.
Now, well, hundreds of police officers from agencies around our area continue to saturate Ferguson right now, monitoring large crowds which at one point were so out of control, officers used tear gas and rubber bullets.
Yeah, we saw so many people on the streets last night, again this afternoon, not the case tonight. As we've been telling you and showing you, traffic is being heavily monitored. We have not seen the looting and destruction that was so prevalent last night in the Florissant area. Officers have been lined up and down West Florissant Road this evening, and as we showed you earlier, the 70 exit onto Lucas and Hunt is also closed.
The shooting death of Michael Brown now under investigation by the FBI and St. Louis County. Michael Brown's parents spoke exclusively with us today. They expressed how disappointed they were to see all of the violence unfold much of last night and into today. Of course, we'll stay in Ferguson overnight. We'll update you 24/7 on KMOV.com.
Leave you the live look at West Florissant and Chambers. That was a live look at West Florissant and Chambers. Have a great evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
And don't forget News 4 this morning. It starts at 4:30 a.m.